Hey man, just giving you a quick call. I just wanted to let you know that you are so close, dude. You're so much closer than you think. A lot of these big goals that we've had and these big aspirations, they're right around the corner for you, dude. So you just cannot give up. So stoked for you to see this. P.S. We bought a Lambo. So keep going, bro. We'll talk soon. Peace.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Bryson. This is the Bryson Everyday Project podcast. This podcast is a little bit different than other ones out there. Here, I only focus on documentation. I don't focus on quality or being professional or being entertaining. If that sounds like something you're interested in, I'd love for you to stick around and give the show a listen. You can also follow me on Instagram at BRQUSE. Thank you so much. Here's the show. Yo, today is October 28th, 2025. It is 6:28. I'm going to do my best to not say or like, and to really think about what I'm going to say. That's my goal. I want to do that moving forward. I really do. I want to actually focus on and try to reshape the way that I speak. I think it will. I just want to be more articulate. And if I have to put in a shit ton of brain power for the next however long to break through this plateau of speech, then excellent. The thing cut off because I got a call. I don't know why it cut off on my computer when I got a call on my phone. But what's really interesting is when I do get a call, my iPad's right here. And so it will go off on my iPad, letting me know I have a call on my phone, but it'll ring on my iPad and my phone if it's on loud. And then I guess my laptop as well. So when somebody calls me, it's just multiple things at once. So very nice. But anyway, I feel stagnant in a lot of areas in life right now. And I always talk about, and have talked about since episode number 1, that I want to be more articulate. I want to stop saying and like. I tried for a while, kind of, and I think I have one episode in the history of this entire show where I didn't say or like. And I just want to be better at it. I want to be able to speak very fluidly and get my point across very concisely and almost, I guess, very elegantly or eloquently, whatever the right word is. I am very intrigued and fascinated and admire people who can just speak fairly quickly and just create nice sentences. And yeah, as you can tell, probably there's a lot of pauses because I'm trying hard to think about what I'm saying. And like I said, if I have to I really do want to focus on this. I really do want to prioritize this because, like I just said, I feel as though I am stagnant in a lot of different areas in life. And I think that I feel that way because I have put so much time and effort into trying to make this thing work that I've neglected so many other areas of my life. Some of those being reading and learning things outside of work, I guess, and the things that I'm trying to build and create for clients, things like that. I'm learning a lot in terms of the systems and automations and stuff for sure, but I want to round myself off a little bit. I want to be better. I want to have more, I guess, stimulus in my life rather than just work. I want to read and learn new things. I want to write. I want to post on social media again. I want to do those things. I enjoy those things. And I think I've just not put any effort into doing anything other than work, which I guess has pros and cons. But anyway, I made a little strategy list yesterday, and what it is a list of things that I must get done today to just keep on crushing it with what I'm doing. I didn't follow any kind of rules or anything like that. I just put things that I needed to get done today. It wasn't like the power list or, 3 critical tasks or 5 critical. It wasn't anything like that. This is what I wrote. Finish Trey's automations for Zapier, approximately 2 hours. Finish all make automations, approximately 5 hours. Fill all databases with fake data, approximately 2 hours. Post on social media twice, approximately 1 hour. Work on offer columns, 1 hour. Reply to Karan and do the thing he asked, approximately 30 minutes. Read $100 million offers, 1 hour. So that was on the list today. Now I have posted on social media once. I have replied to Karan and did what he was asking me to do, which was just to move a couple things from one page to another page. And then finish Trey's automations. I finally did that, and it was much simpler than I was making it out to be. And I'm very glad that I did that. Part of me is bummed that I did do it because now it's like he knew that I was working. Sorry, I'm over analyzing right now if I just used like incorrectly right there. But I feel like that I didn't. I feel as though I said that correctly. I really want to get better at this. And so if I have to talk like a goddamn retard for the next however long, then so be it. I want to get better at this. But anyway, now that I am done with this task that Trey has been wanting me to do, I now kind of have free reign to do other tasks, which is great. But that's kind of when I start feeling more guilty because everything that I'm working on, I'm going to give to him. And so I shouldn't feel guilty whatsoever because I'm putting so much work and effort and hours into this. But I just don't want to ruin the relationship. He's a coach with a lot of network connections. And I feel as though if I deliver this, it could be fantastic because him, Mina, Dawson, they're all getting it for free. They're all getting the thing top to bottom. I did actually look into Dawson's Notion today because I'm still a member. And nobody's using shit still. And so I kind of don't even want to give it to him. But what I mean is I don't want to go through the hassle of setting everything up if he's not going to use it. But if I can get a testimonial out of it, then I guess fuck it, right? I don't know. It's very interesting. It's just so interesting. And he doesn't even track financials on Notion, so half the shit wouldn't even really apply to him anyway. So very interesting dynamic there, but it is what it is. But anyway, that was my list of things that I needed to get done today. I got the automations for Trey done, posted on social once, and finished the thing for Karan. I have been working on one make automation the entire day. It is so complex, the level of shit that you have to do to get some of these numbers and answers and averages and sums and products and amounts and counts. I thought it was going to be a walk in the park and I could finish all of these in one day. No way. I've learned a lot today, so maybe that'll speed up tomorrow. But I'm looking at this. I don't know how to explain it. So Make is an automations software where you have different circles that represent different actions. So one circle might be, all right, look into Notion and look into this database and look at this number. That's the first circle. Second circle is going to say, okay, calculate how many times that same number appears in that whole database. And then that goes to another circle. That circle gives you one answer. And then you put it into another circle. That's where you create a name for it and then assign it to something else. Then you have another circle that you choose where that number that you just made, where that goes. And that's a very simple flow of getting numbers from one database, summing them, putting them in there into another. It's very simple. Then you have a thing called a router. The router is just splits the row in half. So rather than one line, you have one circle that goes into the router, and then from that router, there's two lines that go to two circles. I'm going to have 10 routers, so 10 circles that split off into two. And then from those, there's different filters. So, for example, I have a month-to-month line, if you want to call it that. So the first filter is month-to-month, is this month-to-month sale this week? So that's a filter. There's 3 different filters that go into that, and then it pumps out a number. From that router, and that splits off into another router that splits off into 2 more paths. And then there's another filter for the top line and then another filter for the bottom line. And those are all just to get accurate information to bring back to the financial KPIs database so that the coach can get their weekly reports based on financials every week. And then every month that sums up into a month. And everything is jolly good. And holy shit. It is so much. I really thought that I could just plop it in here and then just have it count totals, but it's just so much more complex than that, just because of how I have to go about filtering the data to get it to be accurate. Because, for example, if this runs every week and I'm trying to count how many people signed up, I have to look at the sale date. So if the sale date is this week, count it. If it's not, don't count it. I guess here's a one that's very different from that. So that one is just counting if the sale was this week. What if they have already been a sale and they are month to month and they are still paying? Well, how do I know if they're still paying on a weekly basis? Well, I had to create a new property in Notion that counted how many days until their next payment, which I caught an error in the next payment formula because it wasn't calculating correctly. So I added another formula that told me how many days it was until the next payment. And then in Make, I added a filter that uses the logic of if the days until next payment is greater than or equal to 0 and less than or equal to 6, count it. If it's not, don't count it. With that filter, it goes to the month-to-month amount and counts that. So if there's a sell if there's a sell and it's $300 and then there's another sell that's $250, the total then, because it's combining them, should be $550. That is the number that I need. And so I'm going through all this, and every time I make a change, I test it, save it, test it, see what it gave me, and make sure that everything works as intended before I continue on. And when I do that, it takes credits. It costs credits. I pay for credits using Make, and this is the currency that I have to. This is what is required to run these automations. Now, I actually have it pulled up because I've been really analyzing this, because I'm trying to round up to see how much it would cost token-wise to run every automation once a week. And I believe I will have 10 or 12 automations running per week. I want to say maybe the average, I'm rounding up and I'm being very, very, what's the word? Not conservative. I'm being very, I don't know what the word is. Exaggerative? We'll call it exaggerative. I'm not generous. I don't know what the word is. But if I run 500 credits for one automation and I run 10 automations a week, that's 5,000 credits. So 10,000 credits a month is $10. So 2 clients cost me $10. If I have, that's kind of what I'm rounding up to. If I have 30 clients, it's going to cost me $116. Now, that's how much it costs token-wise to run this. If it's double and it's 10,000 per client, and I have 30 clients, it's going to cost me $200 a month. Not a huge deal, but what was kind of scaring me was that I was looking at the automations that I was creating, and one used 500 in one go. And I thought, whoa, what the fuck? And I thought, well, shit, I'm not even done. I'm only halfway through. So if I use $2,000 for one, and I have 10 of these, that's 20 grand. That's $20 a month just to run automations for one person. And I don't know, I was just really going down the spiral of, holy shit, this is not sustainable, but it for sure is. It's not as much as I thought. But anyway, I'm actually going to pause for a second. I'll probably be back. Lexi just got home, so I want to go and greet her and say what's up. So I will be back. It's currently 6:44. Let's see how long I'm gone. Can't remember what time I said, but it is now 6:54. So there you go. I actually just told Lexi everything. She asked me how I felt about the call on Thursday, and I told her essentially what I've just been saying, that there's just so much more that goes into this. These automations that are the bread and butter of everything are tough. I'm learning, and I just have to think through everything. And maybe this thinking is so good for me, just using my brain so much. But god damn, I'm looking at this flow, this scenario, this whole automation, and just a lot. And I'm not even done with it. But I did play it out with Lexi just barely, and it did give me some relief. Just bought some peace of mind, which is great. So let's say best case scenario, this guy buys whichever one. If he buys the lowest one, then we're fine. But if he buys the second tier and up, that requires these reports to be done, and they're weekly. So, or maybe what I ought to do is make them monthly. Fuck all that. We'll just keep it weekly. I'm getting too complex. So the second tier and up, they give you the weekly reports, and here's the time frame of when these would have to be done for him. So they go off every Saturday. If the call is on Thursday, I'm going to tell him that it's going to take a week to set up, because we have to get all of his info, everything that he's tracked, put it all into one spot, use automations and shit to disperse it throughout the entire Notion system, and then set everything up. So we'll just say that that's on Friday, because on the next Friday. So let's pull up a calendar. I need to make my wallpaper just a giant calendar. I am so tired of, I want to see 36 months at a time. I want to see that always. So the call is Thursday. Next Friday would be November 7th. That's when I would say that I could deliver the system. Then every Saturday from there is when the automations would trigger. So it'd be the 15th. So I technically have until the 15th of November to finish all these automations. So when I look at it, when I think of it like that, I feel as though I should be prioritizing other things to prepare for the sale to ensure that I get it, because that would be insane. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that I have so much more time than I thought I did, which is great. But also, I want to get it done ASAP. And also, there's still so much that needs to be done. God damn. I don't know. I'm just thinking. And ugh is what I'm thinking. The other thing that I was just talking to her about was I feel great because Mina, Trey, and Dawson, I showed them very low caliber shit. When they hired me, I showed them some very basic things, and they all hired me. This is all on Notion, right? I showed them very basic things on Notion, how I track things that we could build, and they said, "Oh, hell yeah." And they started paying me. See, this is cool. Mina started paying me at 12 hours a week, I believe, at $30. So that's $360 a week. So if you times that by 4, that would be $1,440. So he started paying me $1,500 a month. Dawson started paying me roughly $2,000 a month. And then Trey started paying me, it was $640 times 4. So roughly It was $25.80. So for a month of work, the lowest was $1,500, the highest was $2,500. For a month of work. And they didn't bat an eye. They said, yep, here you go. Boom, let's do it. Hell yeah. And there was no, we'll think about it. There wasn't anything like that. It was cool. Well, let's get you started Monday, start building this. So when I think about it like that, based off of what I showed them, I feel like when I present this big finished product with all the fancy shit, I think it's going to be a no-brainer. At least that's the hope. Because the goal is to create something so great, so powerful, so easy to use that it would actually be crazy for the person not to. So I got the book right here, how to make offers so good people feel stupid saying no. What's really funny about that is I feel as though you need a comma because you could interpret it, how to make offers so good people feel stupid saying no. So what it reads is how to make offers so good people feel stupid saying no. There's no punctuation. So you could interpret it, how to make offers so good people feel stupid saying no. How else could we interpret that? I think that's it. But yeah, how to make offers so good people feel stupid saying no. I have worked a little bit more on the columns. I don't know what else to call them. The pricing structure, the different tiers. And I feel good about it. I feel like the prices are where they should be based on what you get. I feel like the price anchoring is there. And yeah, I'll be honest, I don't have any plan or anything like that set up for this call other than I'm going to ask him what he's doing now and how that's working out, how big his team is, all that bullshit, and then demo how things work and show him how simple it is to do certain things and what certain things look like. I am so confident that this shit is so kick-ass, that I feel as though it should be so simple for him to say, yeah, hell yeah, let's do the VIP. And just like that, $5,000 and 500 recurring, just like that. I don't know. That's the goal. I will shit my whole ass off if he says, oh, yeah, let's just do the $5,000 one and 500 recurring. Let's just do that one. Yeah. I'm going to shit my full ass off and cry. I won't cry, but I will rejoice. I will rejoice and feel very good about everything because it has been a long time coming for me to see some kind of success in this realm. It'll be very cool. It'll be very, very cool. But anyway, that's how I'm doing with everything. And I don't know. There's just so much work that needs to be done. And I enjoy recording these podcasts because they allow me a little escape, a little out from the grind to just sit and talk about it and think things out and things like that. And I feel great usually when I'm done recording a show. Here's a little observation. So I have yet to say or like. Paying attention to those things has caused me to slow down when speaking and caused me to think more about what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say it, and what I'm actually trying to say. And as a result, I feel as though I've gotten a lot of clarity today, just barely in the last half hour, just by thinking things through before I say them, even if I'm not speaking the fastest. Because ideally I'm talking like this or something and everything that I say is fluid and this blah, 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 eloquent, intelligent, nice, analogy, metaphor, simile, blah, 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 rhymes. I would love to speak like that. Matter of fact, I really admire how Chris Williamson speaks. He's got a lot of sarcasm, a lot of very funny humor, but also speaks so well. And I admire that a lot. I think it's so nice. I think that portrays a lot about the person. And I think it is, maybe it's pseudo confidence, but I believe that it portrays an immense amount of confidence, because in order to speak like that, you got to know many things and have read many books to get the lexicon that they have. You know what I mean? Another person that I admire in their speech is Vin. Can't remember his last name. I almost said Go, like Van Gogh, but that's an artist, right? Or an author? I don't know. Vin something, but he is a public speaker, mentor, never says or like, ever, speaks so well. I just admire that, and I want to be good at that. I want to be so articulate. But already talked about that. Anyway, I think I'm going to end the show there. I will confidently say that this is the second show in the history of the Bed Project podcast where I have not said or like. So before I fuck that up, that's the show. So thank you so much for listening. Please rate the show if you haven't already. I really only check Spotify, so it has been at 16 for quite some time. If you're a new listener, or if you are, if you're looking to join the team, like Karin did, send me your resume, and matter of fact, tell me your experience with Notion and Make and Zapier and things of that nature. And we'll go from there. All right. That's the show. Peace.